Okay. Skibbity Todglet. Was toilet already taken when you chose your name, Skibbity? Just curious. You left, so unfortunately, I'll never know that answer. That's okay. It's not that big a deal. Um, I still don't really understand what skibbity means. Good afternoon, or I don't even need to say anything. Unstable connection again. Um, hi there. Hi everybody. Sorry, if this got frozen, I was just checking on my Wi-Fi settings because I wanted to make sure that this is okay. And it keeps saying unstable connection at the top of my page. And obviously, I want this to be a good connection. I want people to be able to get this. Anyway, please keep tapping up the likes. Hi, Johnny. Good to see you. Hi, Golden State. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Thank you for tapping on those likes. I appreciate it very much. It doesn't go unnoticed. Hey, Flyers Hockey. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just begin, and we'll see people hopefully join in this afternoon. Hi, Tommy Boy. My name is Josh. I was a pornography addict for 24 years. I was also an alcoholic for 22 years. I am now a full-time pornography addiction coach. I am a full-time betrayal trauma coach, and I am a therapeutic disclosure specialist. I entered this area, porn addiction, betrayal trauma, and I have been doing this as an author for about 8 years. I've written 4 books, but most importantly, I have been a coach in the areas of pornography addiction, betrayal trauma, and as a therapeutic disclosure specialist for about the last 5 years. So between my experience as an addict of porn for 24 years, as somebody who did great amounts of research for several years, and somebody who is now a certified coach, I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Or take any comments, share my opinion. The weird one says, bro, for real, I feel you. I've been there, and it's a horrible place to be, isn't it? The weird one. It's a horrible place to be when you feel like you don't have control of yourself. When you feel like there's just this magnet that's drawing you towards something that you know is not healthy for you, but you can't stop. Hey, Smoothie Buns, good seeing you today. It is going well, playa. Word to your mother. I told my friend about this and it went exactly as we talked about, perfectly. Well, that is awesome to hear. That is awesome to hear. For those of you who were not here the other night, Mr. Smoothie Buns decided that this weekend he would tell his best friend that he had a porn addiction, and he was very worried. I tried to assure him that everything would go okay, and it sounds like things did go okay, so congratulations. The weird one says, bro, what makes it so much worse is femboys. Well, if you're into femboys, that's cool, but, other people aren't. Other people are into cheerleaders. Other people are into certain nationalities. Other people are into certain ways people do it. Everybody has their own thing. One of the very common questions I get, not as much in here, but when I have a first session, with people, one of the first things they say is, well, I've got a bit of a kink or I've got a bit of a fetish. And then they share it, and usually it's nothing very, very outside the ordinary, usually nothing I haven't heard before. And the reality is, if you have a kink, if you have a fetish, that may just be part of, your sexuality, which doesn't have really anything to do with your addiction, or it may just be the addiction escalating. the addiction escalates with, different types of material. The weird one says, okay, real question. Once it bleeds, is it normal? If you're a woman, yes. If you're a man, no. If you're a man, it is not supposed to bleed. That is not normal. It may not be any reason to be hugely alarmed, but I don't know. Something, the only type of bleeding that I have ever heard of in regard to pornography addiction is more about some chafing and some burns from too much masturbating, whether you're a man or a woman. I'm guessing that if you did that too hard and too long, you could probably become, have some blood. But, I can't say for sure. I'm not the guy to tell you why there's blood on your penis. Mr. Smoothie Buns, some weight came off my shoulders, but now I have a lot of work for me that I keep thinking about. Well, but the thing is, take a second and realize what a huge hurdle you just overcame. It's one thing to be anonymous on a chat site like this. It's another thing to come see somebody like me who's a professional who you're only going to meet on a computer. It's a huge, crazy, big step for real life, talking to a friend about this issue you face every day, talking to somebody who is part of your real life, who knows far more than anybody online will ever know, far more than any coach or therapist will ever know. To tell your best friend about this, my God, that's a huge step. That's a huge step. So you should be congratulating yourself, Smoothie. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. If I miss your comment, please let me know. Weird one says, I swear it happened when I was 12. I'm so cooked. If it's not happening anymore, I don't know if you have to worry about it too much. Hey, too, Chris, good to see you. Welcome. I don't think I've seen your name before, but I appreciate it. When is it too much corn? Well, I think the easy answer is when you can't control it anymore, when it's controlling you, when it occupies too much of your mind. How often do you think about it? How often do you feel triggered? How often do you feel urges? And that's going to be a different answer for everybody. What I actually urge you to do, Chris, is to go to the front page of my profile, and at the top there are 3 pinned videos. You've seen them on everybody's page. One of those videos is called The 11 Symptoms of Corn Addiction, and I think you should definitely check it out. It will list the 11 symptoms, count along, and then you'll see if you are dealing with pornography addiction. Ultimately, addiction is just a label. Addiction is just a label. It means that you have X amount of symptoms. So now we can apply that label to you. And in applying that label to you, there is historically a treatment plan. So that means that, whether it is medicinal, whether it is physical, whether it is mental, whatever your recovery plan is, it's because you fit the profile. But addiction is just a word. Remember that. It's a label. That's all it is. All right, making sure I'm not missing too much. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate the help. I can do this. Why, that's okay, Mr. Smoothie Buns. I know you can do this. You're here very often. You are taking this seriously. I have, you are the kind of person who I do this for, because I know that you can shed this. I know you can shed this at an age much earlier than I did. That's one of the reasons that I'm on TikTok, is to speak to people younger than me. So hopefully they never get to the point that they have to quit at the age I was. And it's even better if they never have to quit at all, because they never got addicted at all. And I believe that you are one of these people who is going to beat this back. You're going to recover, and you're going to go on to have a wonderful, fulfilling life. Hey, Joshua, it's been a while. How have you been? can't complain, and I'm guessing you don't want to hear it, even if I would. I have been very happy that the sessions have not tailed off yet. This is historically one of my slower times of the year because a lot of people they either are worried about money this time of year, or they just put their needs and themselves on the back burner. They're getting all excited or depressed for the holidays. A lot of people like to put off New Year's resolutions, and that hurts my business. But thankfully, people are recognizing this is not something to put off. This is something that you need to continue to deal with. And the amount of first-time clients I've seen in the month of December, really since mid-November when it usually tails off, it makes me feel good. It makes me realize this is becoming more mainstream. This is becoming more acceptable. I can always see that based on the number of people I see. A lot of times also based on the number of women I see who are porn addicts. It's a big deal when a woman steps forward to talk about her addiction, but I'm seeing more of those than ever before as well. So I'm feeling pretty good about the work I'm doing personally. I've had a really good year. 2024 has been okay for me. Hope it's been okay for you. Blue Uzi, I'm still convinced releasing your load helps with headaches. That's interesting. That's interesting. I know that things like caffeine can help migraine headaches, but I have never seen anything scientific that says ejaculating helps headaches. In fact, I have heard more from my clients that they realize they're addicted when they have a headache because they still have to use, but it hurts. Getting all revved up, getting all those chemicals going in your head. So I've never read any literature that says that, but I'd also suggest there are other ways for getting over your headache. Doing something not good to get rid of something not good is not good. I asked you a question, you skipped my question. I didn't see it, TikTok. I didn't see it. So could you think about what you wrote? There may have been a word in there that TikTok doesn't allow. So take a look at your question and try to re-ask it if you wouldn't mind. I will answer anything. What am I drinking? I am drinking Arctic Vibe Celsius. If anybody knows the people at Celsius, I would like a sponsorship. Please, if you're not following me, do follow me. Please keep clicking up those likes. I appreciate it very much. For those of you who are brand new here, just want to say hello. Thank you for joining. Please hit up the likes. Please, if I say anything decent, do share. My name is Josh. I have written 4 books about pornography addiction. I am a certified pornography addiction coach, betrayal trauma coach, and therapeutic disclosure specialist. That means I help the addict, their partner, and the relationship as a whole. If I can help you at all, visit the front page of my profile and you'll see a link at the top that says Calendly, and you can learn more about having a session with me. And I was a porn addict for 24 years, and I was an alcoholic for 22 years. I've been clean now for 10 and a half years, and relapse-free the whole time. Adam O'Brien is 17 days sober. That is freaking awesome, dude. That is awesome, because if you follow what a lot of science says, you are not that many days off from your the physical healing beginning with your mind. Now, that's not a 2-day process. That's not even a 2-month process. It takes a long time, but several weeks sober is when the neural pathways begin to reconfigure, rewire, as we seem to like to say in this business. And you are probably going to start feeling that. I would bet, probably by early next year, you might start feeling that. So good for you, Joshua. I mean, good for you, Adam. Joshua says, that's good to hear. I'm doing all right. My corn is less frequent, 2 days a week or so, but I'm trying. Well, keep recognizing the urges, keep recognizing the triggers. Try to find patterns that may not be there, that you may not recognize. And the best way you can do this is by writing them down, because it allows you to be objective in the moment, and then you can go back and you can look at the data that you have. If you don't do this, most people are like, well, how do you get urges? Social media, when I'm bored. That's what I hear from everybody. Dig deeper, and figure out what's happening on these 2 days. Why do you need it on these 2 days? A lot of detective work to do there, Joshua, but I know you can. Best of luck. Thank you all for the likes. Serious question. I only want serious questions here, J. Cole. They can be embarrassing questions. They can be questions that make you feel shame, but every question here is serious. I work very hard to keep this a safe place where we can talk about largely anything. Although I've learned the hard way not to talk about drugs. J. Cole fan number 13. Serious question, but what is a good step to slowly not relapse? Recognize your red flags that bring you towards relapse. Because here's what we have to realize, J. Cole, is that relapse doesn't just happen. You don't blink your eyes and then suddenly there you are on an adult website, pants around your ankles, doing your business. It takes a lot of decisions to get to that point. And basically, each decision that you go with it, you're breaking down your borders a little more. So you have to recognize the red flags. Now, this can be that you sit down with social media and you start scrolling and you see something that interests you or gives you a little bit urge in that direction. Well, don't keep looking. Walk away. Things that, promote urges, promote triggers in very early recovery, you've got to be able to avoid them. Also, what you need to be able to do is recognize your internal dialogue. Many people report, waking up and knowing that was the day. They knew that was the day. That should be a big red flag. Whenever the internal dialogue starts challenging you, hey, how, starts trying to justify or rationalize. How are you going to know if you're healthy if you don't, take a peek? How are you, or, it's been 3 weeks. Certainly you must be healed by now. Go ahead and look at it. Whatever the voices are, or screw it, you've had such a bad day, who cares anymore? You've got to look for these red flags so you don't relapse. And there will be, on the road to relapse, there will be more red flags. Those red flags will get bigger, but it will also become more difficult to stay away from them. Because the moment you get that first urge, that's when the chemicals start. So many people think that, the chemicals only happen when you ejaculate. Or you have your orgasm if you're a woman. That's not the case. The dopamine starts flowing when you get that first urge. So the more you give into these urges, the more you give into the voices, the more you give into that pull to use, the further down the road you go. And eventually you get to the point where you've released so many chemicals, you're not going to be able to stop yourself. It's like going to a bar, having 1 or 2 beers. You're still among your faculties. You can still make decisions. You can make bad decisions, but you can also still make good decisions. You don't have to keep drinking. You can walk away. You can have some water, whatever. You can make good decisions. Once you've had 4 beers, once you've had 6 beers, once you've had 8 beers, the good decision making degrades with every beer that goes by. Well, with every, red flag you ignore, with every bit of dopamine that keeps building up, eventually you are so intoxicated, you are so inebriated, you are not going to stop. So you need to be able to recognize you have to stop before that relapse fully happens. So try to look for the red flags. Try to look for those early red flags. Adam says, thank you. It's a hard road, but it'll be worth it for the future. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Want to make sure I don't miss any comments. I will get to everybody's comments. I promise, I promise, I promise. Hey, Dimitri, good to see you. Sometimes I just miss the feeling, and then I just don't really know if I should do it or not. What are you going to gain? What are you going to gain? What is the feeling that you miss? I mean, think about it. What is the physical feeling that you miss? What is the mental feeling that you miss? Take the naked people doing the naked stuff out of this. What relief are you getting when you use? Ask yourself that. Thank you so many of you for following. And nice. I like it when people get into conversations like Adam and Dimitri are doing. That's one of the reasons I have this room, is to let people get to know each other, let people to support each other. Exactly everything to lose by looking, but everything to gain if you don't look at it. Well, and that's the thing that you have to recognize, but you won't recognize until you get into the recovery. I remember one of my very first days at rehab when one of my caseworkers was like, you're going to have to quit pornography. You're going to have to quit alcohol. And I just thought, how do I do that? You're taking away the two things that I need. You're taking away the two things I trust. You're taking away the two things I use to cope. And he's like, you're going to be amazed how many tools you have to cope before you're done with this. And he's right. He's right. Once you take care of those problems, you don't need that. It was lagging. You said, what do you gain? But then it kept lagging. Can you repeat? Yeah, you mentioned that you're not sure if you should. It feels really good. And that's what I was suggesting, is what is it that makes you feel so good? I mean, it's not just looking at naked people. Physically, mentally, why do you need this stuff? And you may not be able to come up with those answers. I mean, as a coach, that's one of the big reasons I exist, is to help people come up with those answers. But what are you gaining from using? What are you truly gaining from using? Joseph says, in games. I don't know what that's in reference to. Adam says, trust me, Dimitri, I've been battling on and off for years, but now I've realized it isn't worth it. It really isn't worth it. And that's the thing, is that to what end? To what end? What is the end game with your pornography addiction? Is it to marry somebody who thinks it's okay? Is it to hide the addiction from somebody? Is it to, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have an end game, and it all came crashing down on me when I was 37. Now, I know many of you, most of you, are younger than that. I can look at my stats when I'm done one of these, and whether it's a slow one like today, where I'll probably get 300-400 people in the room in an hour, or it's one of the busy weekday ones where I get 600-700 people in an hour. The statistics all kind of come out the same. It's 70% people who are under 35. who check out these rooms. Please take care of this before you turn 35 if you can. You can always fix it afterwards. I'm proof of that. The people in their 40s and 50s who I've helped and I've witnessed in my own recovery have proven that to me. But if you can get rid of this 18 to 35, man, 18 to 25 is amazing. 18 to 35, you still have so much life left to live that you can leave this behind. Dimitri says it just feels good. Yeah, but there are a lot of things in this world that feel good that are not good for you. Where is this going to lead you, Dimitri? You know, where is this going to lead you? I also see a couple of crosses in your profile there. This must be against the rules of, you know, whatever your Christian religion is, or whatever the denomination is. How did you deal with those super heavy urges 3-4 days into recovery? Well, 3-4 days into recovery, I was at rehab, so I didn't have access to my alcohol or my porn. But what I had to do, what everybody has to do, is to start to develop willpower. Start to develop some strategies. You know you're going to get super heavy urges. You know you are. Whether you're using or you're trying not to use, you're going to have urges. Be prepared for them. Have a plan. Have a plan to do 5, 6, 7 other things at any given time. If it's a beautiful day, go for a walk. If it's a horrible weather day, stay in and watch a movie. Make a list of people you can call who you should say hello to. Make a list of people you should write emails to say hello to. Is there anything you've ever wanted to learn about? Go online. Do that. The best way to deal with urges is to be ready for them and to have something else to do. And that something else isn't scrolling on your phone. I've used more strategies we talked about, like screen time apps and math word games. Fantastic, Joseph. I'm glad to hear that. Good for you, man. Good for you. Saying that we have to... Telling people to call makes me realize I have to call my mom. Hey, B, do I leave him? 6-year relationship, and I found out about it a year ago. I am so sorry about this. I am so sorry about this. Do you leave him? Well, I would say, how have you dealt with this? Have you told him this hurts your feelings? Have you told him you don't want him using this? Is he trying to get better? Does he not care what you think? What has this done to you emotionally? There are a lot of questions I would have for the question, do I leave him? I don't push to people they stay together. I don't push to people that they separate. I push that you do the best thing for yourself. So if you can tell us a little bit more about this, we can probably give some better perspective. What has the last year been like? What has the last year been like since you've discovered it? Hey man, I'm sad today. Is that because Alabama didn't make it into the final 12 or whatever hell that thing is? That's just my question. AP4 joined. Hi, accepting joins. Of course, Chris. Of course. Everybody is welcome to join. Everybody is welcome to comment. Everybody is welcome into this community. As long as you're not glorifying pornography, as long as you're not triggering other people with your comments, potentially, we can talk about just about anything in here. So, yeah, Chris, absolutely. And anybody who's interested, please join up. And since we have a bit of a small crowd today, it's a great day to get into deeper discussions if you're interested. I'm very sorry, Alex. I'm very sorry. Maybe the next group of guys who wear those shirts will do better. Dimitri asks, what good things will happen if you quit? Well, if you go through the process of quitting the behavior, More importantly, is going about the process of figuring out why you became an addict in the first place, learning how you became the man you are today, really understanding yourself, understanding why you've lived in so much fear for, up to this point, understanding how you've made your decisions up to this point, because using pornography has been one of those decisions. And we have to figure out, why do you use so much more than all of those people out there, the vast, vast majority who don't? You will get clarity. You will feel more healthy mentally, physically. You will have tools to deal with your problems. You will have tools to deal with stress and anxiety. Nobody who is an addict is in better health than somebody who is not. Do I watch football? I have not watched in many years, probably since the pandemic. Two things happened right around the pandemic. Number one, there were no crowds, so it was like watching, it was like watching a practice, or like watching a college game on one of those fringe sports channels where there's only 70 people in the stands. And right around that same time was when the Patriots started sucking. And being here in New England, I'm obviously a Patriots guy. So yeah, not as much as I once did. It's so draining on your mental state, just distract from urges. It is. It is. It is. Will there be changes physically after quitting? Well, it's not like you're going to develop muscle mass. The physical changes that happen are in your brain. Your neurotransmitters, the way things are wired up there. Neuroplasticity, which is the phenomenon of the brain constantly evolving to meet the body's needs, will physically change over time. If you want to change the way your body looks, you have to exercise. You have to go to a gym. You have to eat healthy. Your thoughts aren't you. If you use, you're not bad. It's just a path you've got stuck in. Remember that. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very, very good point, Adam. I always try to point out to people that they are not the porn that they watch. The reality is that probably 60-70% of my female clients who are addicts watch exclusively all-girl pornography. And I have quite a few theories as why, after having talked to them about it, but there's not a lesbian or a bisexual or pansexual in the bunch. All of them are heterosexuals, several of them married, several of them with male partners. There are a lot of guys who, while straight guys don't tend to watch gay porn or even really dabble into it, almost all guys at some point will watch trans porn. Does that mean you're interested in being a trans person? Does that mean that you're a little bit gay? No. Just, your addiction has to escalate to keep feeding the beast. That's what happens. You are not the porn that you look at. That's an important thing for addicts to know. That's an important thing for partners to know. That the user they are not the porn they look at. I hope that makes people a little bit more at ease and more willing to talk about it. I mean, those of us who have watched porn or have watched porn for any length of time, and like I said, I was a porn addict for 24 years. We probably have all seen some stuff we wish we hadn't seen, or we would not admit to seeing in mixed company, or we would never admit to telling anybody. And we're not thrilled about seeing that, but we saw it along the way, and but it doesn't mean that's who you are. It doesn't mean that's who you are. Just because you watched people doing some crazy stuff doesn't mean you want to do that crazy stuff as well. So keep that in mind. J. Cole fan number 13. How did you try and improve your self-esteem? I tried to figure out how to love myself. I tried to figure out what was good about me. I am very quick to look at all of the time before my recovery. I am very quick to look at that time that I was an addict, which pornography started at 12, didn't quit till 36. Alcohol started at 14, didn't quit till 36. What I had to do was recognize that that entire time was not wasted. I did a lot of good things in that time. I helped a lot of people in that time. And my addictions did not necessarily define me to a lot of people in that time. I was sick, I was ill, but I wasn't a complete loser. And nowadays, far fewer people give a shit about me. You know, I used to be a publisher. I used to be a film festival curator. I created a film festival. I was a local politician. I did all kinds of really cool things. But I did those things to try to fill holes that were in my soul. I have done other things now to fill those holes. I have recognized who the important people are around me, and I don't really worry about what the others think. I have recognized what I'm good at, where my skills are, and I have, moved in that direction. I have actually, to improve my self-esteem, I've actually worked to lower my ego. I've worked to raise my empathy. Just becoming a better person. One of the things when you're in recovery to ask yourself is, am I making a healthy decision here? Am I making a healthy decision with whatever you're looking at? Please don't forget to hit up the likes. Please don't forget to share this if I say something worthwhile. Please join and follow if you're not already. Adam O'Brien says, just keep a list of the reasons and the gain you want to get out of this at the end, and it'll motivate you. Yeah, Adam, what I always tell people, number one, is before you start trying to recover, before you start trying to quit, establish your motivation. What is your must for quitting? What will pornography take away from you if you don't quit? Too many people who I meet look at quitting pornography as some kind of diet. Like, if I don't look for 30 days, I'll be fine. No. Because those people who are overweight who quit, eating bad for 30 days, usually go back to it because they didn't deal with the real problem of how did they get to that weight? Why did they get to that weight? We need, in my practice as a coach, yes, there are all kinds of tools, tips, techniques we can get to slow down and stop the behavior of using pornography. But more important is, why did you get to that point? Why did you get to that point? Sarah Moz, haven't seen you in a few days. Good to see you, my Australian friend. See worth in yourself and not base it on others. Exactly. Although after Betrayal, I struggle with the same. Well, and again, as you know, Sarah, I'm going to tell you it has nothing to do with you. And you know it, but it is hard to wrap your arms around just the concept of being betrayed by somebody you loved so much. And the aftermath that comes with that. But I do like what you say. Find the worth in yourself. And I think that's, like I was saying, I had a lot of holes in my soul. I did not love myself. I did not think I was successful. In everything that I thought would bring me happiness, and I'm very lucky. I'm one of those people who achieved a ton of my goals. I really have. I have lived more lifetimes than most people ever get to. at the point that I'm at now. And I'm super, super grateful for it. But ultimately, it didn't fill those holes. It's not until I got into recovery and recognized why I was drinking, why I was using porn, why I was trying to use them to fill the holes, because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't even know why those holes were there. That's the deeper work that I do with my clients. That's how you truly recover. Just quitting the behavior, just not looking, just not touching, that's like going on a diet. It's stopping the behavior, but the behavior is a symptom of a bigger problem. That bigger problem being, why'd this start in the first place? And who did this turn you into today? Sarah adds, use ruins everyone's self-esteem, the user and the partner. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, Sarah. I agree with that 150%. That's why, it's when you see things like drug abuse or alcohol abuse, the things that tend to be more mainstream addictions, you always hear them say that the people around the addicts get sick too. That's why there are organizations like Al-Anon that help people like this who are in the family. There are support groups like this. There are groups for children who have parents that are addicts. It's because the people around the addict tend to suffer quite a bit as well. It does ruin everyone's self-esteem. It does put everybody in an unsafe place. It does inject fear into everything, 100%. Can you accept my request to join? I haven't got it, Chris. Never got it. Never got it. But honestly, Chris, I'm probably not going to be here that long, so I probably would not do that at this point. Adam O'Brien, if you're still alive, I'm still alive. I'll join back later. All right, well, I'm in and out. As long as you're following me, you will see this. Like I said, not sure how much time I'm spending today. I've actually been doing a hell of a lot of work on a new product I'm working on, which is a individualized calendar that will wean you off of pornography in 6 weeks if you follow it. So I'm working on that right now. I hope to have that available to people come mid-January. I also hope I'm also working on my YouTube page. People have asked, are you ever going to put these lives up on your YouTube page? I am going to start putting the better ones up there. So if you enjoy these lives, even though I say a lot of the same stuff again and again, if you need to have it reinforced on my YouTube page, you'll see these. And just in case anything does happen to TikTok, I will let you know I am on I just joined the Blue Sky app, and I am also on the Clapper app. Because who knows what's going to happen with this, so we need to prepare. So if anything happens with TikTok, you can find me at thatcorncoach.com as well. Enough commercials. I don't know how they make Celsius so good, but damn. Dimitri says, I get the most urges when I'm showering. I'm trying to make it quick, but while I'm doing that, I have the urge. Okay. Is it just because you're naked? Is it because that's where you usually use? Here's something for you. Maybe do you take your showers the same time every day or every other day or every 2 weeks? Maybe you're grubby. I don't know. Do you take them the same time of day? That would be my number. Okay. Then I want you to switch it. If you're taking your showers in the morning, take them at night. If you're taking them at night, take them in the morning. You have to switch up the schedule. You have to switch up your routines. See if the urges are less. at a different time of day. You may find you never have any type of urge if you are doing it a different time of day. Thanks for the help. I've been 3 months sober, but still feeling urges. Well, J. Cole, the question is, are these true use of pornography to get over stress, anxiety type urges? If they are, it's probably time to start doing the deeper work. If you're 3 months sober, you've shown you can control the behavior, which is fantastic, but you've got to be able to go back and do the harder work. So that may be why you're having problems, because you haven't really fixed anything aside from the behavior. And the behavior is not the addiction. The behavior is this much of the addiction. So maybe it's time to start doing the deeper work. Or here's the other part. Is this just a normal part of your sexuality? We are trying to get it to a point where you do not have urges to look at adult material to get that chemical rush, because it's wrecking your life. But what we are not trying to do is extinguish your sexuality. You know, if you don't have a partner now, aren't you going to have to be sexually attracted to your partner in the future? We're not trying to extinguish that. You know, I see a pretty girl, I still know it's a pretty girl. You know, my wife wants to have intimate time with me. I still want to do that. Getting through your addiction is not about becoming sexually anorexic. You don't want to do that. You know, you are supposed to have a healthy level of sexuality. And addiction and sexuality are two different things. So what I would suggest is, if you're having pornographic urges, it's time to start doing the deeper work. If you're having sexual urges, don't sweat it too much, because you're probably a heterosexual. Or if you're homosexual, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter what you like. We're not trying to extinguish that. Play loud music and sing. Sarah, you come from my wife's school of taking a shower. I literally have to turn the TV up when she takes a shower because the music is so loud. And if I hear Pink Pony Club one more time, I'm going to pull my hair out. Dance in the dance in the shoulder shower, have a cold one, try something else. Exactly. It's about disturbing the routine. We get into routines. Our body likes routines. Our brain likes routines. Our brain wants us to do as little as possible. Our brain wants to protect us. It's wired for that. It's wired to make things easy. It's wired for survival. And you can get to the point where your survival includes that addiction. Your brain makes that mistake. And be careful. Let's be honest, Sarah. You have to be careful dancing in the shower. If you don't have those little, anti-slip things on the bottom, it can get dangerous. You can dance around your room naked to loud music. That's fun. Mainly to get over stress, says J. Cole. Well, it's a coping technique, right? It's a coping technique. But you need to develop better coping techniques. You found pornography along the way. Once you find pornography, why do you have to learn to get over stress? Why do you have to learn to manage anxiety? Why do you have to figure out how to become a problem solver? You've got your porn. There's no need to figure out how to solve your problems. You've figured it out, this stuff. But you probably don't have the stress management skills that you should, that a healthy person has. Pornography has been your hack for so long. Chris says, I had 2 to 3 sessions with you and just wanted to give an update. I was the addict, but I was the wife. I can't tell based on what you've said exactly who you are, to be honest with you. But I do hope things are going better for you. I do hope things are going better for you. But I don't really know how I get these urges. You get these urges because your brain is telling you that you need some kind of relief. That's basically it. What the relief is from, everybody is very individual. That's why I have sessions with people where I talk to them about this stuff one-on-one. Because everybody is very individualized. Maybe you get these urges because you're triggered by something you see. I had a client quite a while ago who he got triggered when he saw a picture of his parents because they neglected the hell out of him. But he had a picture of them in his room. He lived in an apartment. He wasn't living with them anymore, but he had a picture of them in his room. And when he saw that picture, it stirred something up inside. Not every time, not every day, but he did not have fond memories of them. So take the picture down, dude. You don't need to be remembered of them every day, multiple times a day, because it gets you in a mood. And the way you deal with that mood is to use. Now, I'm not saying that's you, but most people don't understand how they get these urges. I had a client, I've told this story a few times on here, but I had a client who thought he was scared to death of water because he almost drowned when he was a kid. Real quick, I'm going to retell the story. I'm sorry if you've heard it. But I had a client now probably 2 years ago, and he knows I use this story. He was 6, 7 years old. He was at the neighbor's house, his neighbor around the same age as him. His neighbor had an in-ground pool, and they even had signs that said no roughhousing, no play fighting. Well, he and his friend were roughhousing and play fighting, and he fell into the pool in the deep end. And like any 6-year-old kid who doesn't know how to swim, the deep end might as well be a mile out in the ocean. It's that scary. This guy, or his friend, his father was mowing the lawn or doing something outside, and he saw my client at 6, 7 years old drowning, so he ran and jumped in the pool and pulled my client out. My client, 6, 7 years old, ran like a bolt home, ran into the house. And this shows you how you remember certain details. So he ran into his living room, and his mom and dad were watching a Tina Turner concert. He remembers that clear as day. Said it was on HBO. And he saw them, and he ran into his room. And he did not get to process what happened with anybody. He, moving forward in life, kind of got anxious when he was around bodies of water, whether it was a pool, whether it was a lake or an ocean. And even as he had his own kids, if they wanted to go to the lake, he wanted to go to the mountains. If they wanted to go to the beach, he suggested Disney World. He didn't want to be anywhere near water. Now, here's the thing. Maybe one of his sons would be the next, what the hell is that guy's name? Michael Phelps. Maybe one of his kids would be the next great Olympic swimmer. But they'd never know because they're not getting a pool because dad is afraid of drowning or dad is afraid of water. Turns out, though, after a few weeks of talking to my client, he's not afraid of water whatsoever. What he is afraid of is that the kid's father, who was seen as a hard ass, who was seen as a tyrant, who was seen as a mean guy, he was afraid that guy was going to yell at him. He was afraid that guy was going to tell his parents. He was afraid, to ever see this guy ever again. He never went over to this kid's house again. he wasn't scared of drowning. He didn't get to process it, that was a bad thing. Obviously, he should have been able to process near drowning because that is traumatic. But what he carried with him was the fear from this adult, was the fear from this neighbor cracking down, being mean, trying to discipline him, getting him in trouble. That's why, and I figured this out because when he told me, like, yeah, I go to the beach and I get up to my shins in the water and I start feeling all nervous and all anxiety and butterflies. And it's like, this doesn't sound like the fear of water similar to a fear of heights. This just doesn't make sense. So we delved into this, and that's the thing. He didn't know. He assigned one type of trauma to why he behaved the way he did, why he thought the way he did, why he used the pornography, when it was something else entirely. That's why I urge people to see somebody who knows what they're talking about, like I do when it comes to this stuff. You don't want to misdiagnose yourself. That can send you down the wrong road. For me, you will be the most missed if TikTok gets banned. Remember that. Well, thank you, Dimitri. I hope you'll start on Blue Sky and go follow me there, that corn coach. Or on Clapper, go follow me there. Like I said, I am working on building out my YouTube page, and I still have my website, thatcorncoach.com. So if something happens with TikTok, you will be able to find me on those other places. I'm off Instagram. I'm not going back to Instagram. I'm off Facebook. I'm not going back to Facebook. I just don't want either of those apps in my life. Every time is different. Well, every time isn't different, Dimitri. Every time is not different. It happens at a different time in the future, but it's like saying lunch is different every time. Yeah, I'm sure that there's, 150 different things you can eat for lunch, but you still get hungry every time of day. It's like saying it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what the porn you're looking at is, whether it's certain nationality, certain, kink, whatever it is, that doesn't really matter, because that is like the food that you eat at lunch. It's not a matter of what do you eat, it's a matter of why do you get hungry. Every time is different. Technically it is, because we don't have time machines, but there are probably a lot of patterns that you could see. For instance, I never eat meatloaf here at my house unless my son is home from college, because he requests that. I never do. And so that's why we only eat it then. And my wife and I both grew up in households where if our parents were busy after work, they just picked up a pizza. So that's what we still do. It's a pattern. We have all kinds of patterns in our lives. We have all kinds of routines in our life. And we are in control of them. And we make decisions based on them, even if we feel like we don't. Think about when you drive to school. Think about when you drive to work. Think about when you drive to the supermarket. You probably go the same way every time. Why? Because it's the shortest, most likely. And you've probably done it so many times you don't think about it, but you have to put the car in reverse to get out of the driveway. That's a decision you make. You pull up to a stop sign, whether you stop or not, that's a decision you make. Now, the shortest way to get to work, but what if you want a coffee? Well, you have to make a decision to make a bit of a detour and go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or wherever you get your coffee. We make so many decisions in life that we don't even think we're making decisions about. And while every time is different, you are making the decision. You are making the decision, Dimitri. When I get the urge, 50% says to not do it, and the other 50% says to do it. So it's the old angel and devil on your shoulders, which is a very common thing when it comes to addiction. Many people have described it to me, and I have read about it in many books of people talking about they have the angel and the devil. And what you have to do is figure out how to make that angel's voice louder. Figure out how to not listen to that devil. How do you change those percentages? Because that's what you have to do. How do you make it so 70% says not to do it? How do you make it so 80 or 90% says not to do it? Well, you have a course to get there. I don't know exactly what it is because I've not worked with you privately, but you have a course to get there. You have ways of recovering to get there. It's a matter of if you want to take them. We must have been here over an hour now. What time is anybody who's anybody who's anywhere in the world? Can you tell me what time it is? I can figure it out from there. I know it's only 5 hours difference to London, only 3 hours difference to LA, 6 hours difference to Hawaii, 9:40 for you. PM, so that must make it 4. Are you ZM? Are you in far Western Europe? London. Okay, so that means it's 4:40 here. Okay, thank you, dude. 10:40 for Dimitri, so you're a little bit more to the east. You must be like Belgium or Scandinavia. 4:40 p.m. today. Yep, that's right. You must be East Coast, Captain. Some reason I still have never put a clock in here. If I stop watching porn, should I retain or not? Yes. Because that's part of your addiction. If you don't watch porn but you keep masturbating, aren't you picturing things in your head when you are? Picturing things in your head is basically the same as looking at porn. Because your eyes see images, but your brain processes them. Your tongue tastes things. Your brain processes the taste. Your nose smells things. Your brain processes the smell. So when you don't look at porn, but you are using, if you are picturing stuff in your head while you use, you are processing images of pornography, whether they are in front of you or not. That's why when people say, what about erotic literature? What about erotic books on tape? Are you picturing this stuff? Because if you are, those chemicals are still going. Netherlands. I didn't realize Netherlands was the next. Netherlands was the next time zone over. I almost said that, and then I was like, nah, too far west. Hello from London. Hello from Netherlands. Isn't it kind of cool when you think about it that 20 years ago, 10 years ago even, we couldn't get together like this, people from all over the world talking about a common issue that we all have. I know technology takes a lot of shit, and technology should take a lot of shit, or at least people not knowing how to use technology should. But isn't it nice that we can, all get together like this when you think about it? Omari, good to see you. How do I deal with the shame of the lack of intimacy? It fuels my corn use. What is the shame of the lack of intimacy? Are you saying that you're shamed that you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Are you saying you're shamed that you don't have a physical partner? Are you saying that you're shamed because you do have a physical partner, but you're not actually interacting sexually and with intimacy? So if you can clear that up a little, Omari, I might be able to give you some more specific advice. What is the best way to approach this addiction? Head on. Recognize you have a problem. Recognize you're not going to solve the problem on your own. Recognize the problem is much more than just stopping the behavior of looking and touching. Recognize if you're going to recover, you're going to have to change a lot about yourself. You're going to have to change a lot about your lifestyle, a lot about your mindset. This is about making life changes. This isn't like going on a diet. This is about full-on life changes. So, and I'm sure many of you are sick of hearing this, I liken myself as your coach to being a Sherpa. That's the little Tibetan guy who helps people climb Mount Everest. He's been up and down the hill 100 times. He knows the shortcuts. He knows the tricks of the trade. He knows the best little things to do. He can guide you along the way, but you still have to do most of the work, 90% of the work. I can help you figure out the path. I can help you figure out how to traverse it, but you still have to take it on your own. And that's the best way to approach this, is that you are going to conquer a major chunk of your life and get it healthy and then benefit from those healthy changes. Your boyfriend graped me. That Jamaican and the guy who had been there was this for the past few, years ago, but this seems very train of thought. I'm guessing that you probably said things you shouldn't have before and after, so now we just have a middle of a story. Omari returns with, I don't have a girlfriend and people shame me for it. I then resort to corn to cope with it. Well, who's shaming you? Who's shaming you? I would suggest saying to them, please don't shame me. Or, I don't have a girlfriend because I'm not settling. Or, I don't need a girlfriend right now. Having a girlfriend will not make you a better person. Having a girlfriend will not make you a healthier person. Having a girlfriend may make you feel like you're happier in the short term, but in the long term, happiness comes from within. In the long term, the only person you have to answer to is yourself. 10 years from now, you'll probably be married. And none of these people who shame you now for not having a girlfriend will even be part of your life. One of your parts of recovery, Omari, is going to be to learn to say, bite me to those people who shame you. Who cares what they think? Do you respect these people who shame you? Because if you don't respect somebody, you can't respect their opinion. You can hear it. You can take it into consideration, but it doesn't mean much. People used to say, when I was, very well known in my community, when I was a local politician, when I was the publisher of several regional magazines, people loved me. People kissed my butt all the time. I ran a film festival that brought millions of dollars to the area. So all kinds of hotel and restaurant people were always kissing my butt. And that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. But for all the people who kissed my butt, when I fell apart, ended up getting fired because of, not being a good boss, even though I owned a little part of the company, I got fired from running it day to day. All kinds of those people who were saying wonderful things about me started saying horrible things about me. He's an alcoholic. I heard he's a porn addict. He couldn't keep his stuff together. He's a disgrace. He's a pervert. Well, you know what? They didn't know the real story. They didn't have the facts. They didn't know what was going on with me. They didn't know why I was an alcoholic, why I was a porn addict. They knew nothing about me, yet they were condemning me. And I had this epiphany that all of these people who were condemning me They weren't condemning me with facts. They weren't condemning me coming from the same place I was. They weren't condemning me with logic. They were condemning me with lies, with factual incorrect information. They had no idea what was actually going on. You know, these keyboard warriors. But the thing was, many of these same people who were, 12 years ago ripping me a new one on Facebook because I had these problems, they were the same people who were kissing my butt 6 months earlier. And it occurred to me, if I think these people are totally wrong, and I know they're totally wrong when they're disagreeing with me, isn't it possible that they're totally wrong when they're kissing my butt? Isn't it possible they don't have the facts, they're not coming from the same place as logic when they're telling me how awesome I am and kissing my butt? And the light went on at that point. I have to really not give a crap what people think about me, good or bad. If you're going to compliment me, thank you. If you're going to rip me apart, oh well. I'm not going to get on my high horse because of your compliment, and I'm not going to get dragged down because of your insult. The only person you have to make happy, Omari, is yourself. Don't waste energy on trying to be some version of yourself for people who you are looking for acceptance from. If the people who are shaming you don't accept you, find other people. Those aren't people you want to be around. What do they get out of shaming you? Feeling better about themselves? It's kind of pathetic when you think about it. Hey, Sarah. Sarah says, I believe everyone should heal before pursuing relationships. It would stop so much hurt. It's actually strong to be single and work on yourself to be a whole person beforehand. I agree. 100%. 100%. I believe that if you are not currently in a relationship and you enter recovery, you should give it 6 months of success, or at least a year of working on it. And then if you start dating and pursuing relationships at that point, you need to be clear and honest about it. You can't hide it from someone. If someone won't date you because you had a problem a year ago or you had a problem 7 months ago, that's their right. But you don't want to hide it from them. You don't want to immediately go into gaslighting mode and manipulation mode. You want to be honest. When people ask me what's the best part about recovery, a lot of things have always gone through my head, but my number one is I don't have to remember my lies anymore. So I think that I absolutely agree with what you're saying, Sarah. Tyreek, back to day 0. Well, sir, what happened? What happened? Why did you misstep? What happened? Sarah says, yes, because being betrayed is brutal. My world ended that day. Yeah, I understand you, Sarah. I work with women all the time, every day. I seem to have at least one betrayal trauma session, and just how ripped apart people's lives become. Somebody else did something it's a shame. There's no justice to it. And I think that's really also part of not being able to trust him again, is understanding that the justice in your relationship, the fact things are supposed to go the way they're supposed to go, didn't happen. There's no guarantee it's ever going to happen again. That's very scary. That's very scary. Being betrayed is brutal. That's a perfect word for it, brutal. How often do I go live? 5 days a week, maybe 6, maybe 4, depends what's happening that week. I either go live between like 1 and 4 East Coast time during the day, or I do it 8:30 to 10:30 at night East Coast time. If you follow me, you should get a little alert when I am going live. I ain't going to lie, I'm on like day 2. That's okay, Kai. Ain't counting the days, though, just got day by day, taking urges one by one. Amen. You literally, I mean, I posted a video yesterday that said I was at 3,900 and something days. Whatever. Those are 3,900 one day at a times. And if one day at a time is too long for you, take it in a chunk. Let's say it's it's 1:30 where you are, and you're going to have dinner at 5. Just hold on till 5, and then after dinner, hold on till bed. If that's still too long, break it down by the hour. It's 2:30 now. I can make it till 3:30. If that's too much, you only have this moment to worry about. If you're watching me here, you don't have to use porn. If you're watching me here, you don't have to use porn. If you're out for a walk, you don't have to use porn. If you're doing something else, you don't have to use porn. I like your initial strategy. Moment by moment, take the urges one by one, and just be prepared when they happen, because you know they're going to. You know they're going to. Sarah says, be strong, do the work, and be authentic to your significant other. Secrecy ruins lives. Small wins are still wins. Absolutely, Sarah. And that's one thing that, I don't know that I've said this in several days, but more than the use of pornography, more than seeing the naked people doing the naked stuff, most partners, actually, let me change that. All partners, I haven't met one who said otherwise yet. All partners are more bothered by the fact that there was lying. The fact that their significant other, the fact that their partner, the fact the person who they didn't think lied to them actually did lie to them. That's like being a salt shaker on a table when somebody tries to do that trick and whips off the tablecloth and everything stays there, but unfortunately didn't happen. Everything gets messed up. And will it ever be put back together again? Who knows? Who knows? The lies and the gaslighting, that's what brought my world down. Exactly. And addicts are amazing gaslighters. Why are addicts amazing gaslighters? Because we learn to do it on ourselves first. We learn to justify our behavior. We learn to lie to ourselves about our behavior. We learn to minimize our behavior. We learn how to play mind games on ourselves from a young age. So when we start to manipulate other people and lie to other people, we're good at it because we always do it to ourselves. And we become slaves to the addiction. Pride, no match for addiction. Love, no match for addiction. Honor, no match for addiction. Shame, no match for addiction. Addicts are master manipulators. Most of the time I see an active addict cry, I don't think it's real. Especially if they're talking about their addiction or bad things they did during their addiction. Usually I think it's just a technique to gaslight, to get the spotlight off them. Also the morals and integrity play a part because I see it for what it is, toxic. Absolutely. Absolutely. Connor 420 says moderately is okay. Well, Dr. Connor, where did you get this? Can you cite several studies that says moderately is okay? Or Do you just use moderately and want somebody to say it's okay? You know, I'm sure, Dr. 420, that you have all the information, so lay it on us. Why is moderately okay? Cite your sources. I question my morals and integrity by staying, and that's a hard thing for me. Well, it might be one of those times where you have to draw two columns. Why do I stay? Why do I go? And then look at the answers under each. You know, Sarah, you're a perfect example of someone who gets their life very entrenched. Someone who becomes enmeshed and builds a life with somebody else. So if it comes time to unravel it, it's very difficult. If you have kids, if you have house payments, car payments, insurance payments, if you share pets, if you both have a salary and you can't have that level of living if you only live on your own salary, or if you're financially dependent on him, yeah, these are all very difficult things if you do want to leave. And you're left there going, I can't leave because of circumstances. If you want to leave, you can change those circumstances over time. You can do major things to figure it out. One of the things that I always tell my clients is what happened, he's lied to you about the porn. What happens if he lied to you about finances at work? What if he was involved in some kind of money scheme at work and the federal government finds out, or the government wherever you are finds out, and they grab him and they throw him in jail, pending a trial, and then he's gone out of your life. He's going to be in jail for the next year awaiting trial, and then since he probably did it, he'll probably go away for 10 years. What would you do in that situation? What would you do if he was walking home or walking the dog and he got hit by a bus and killed? What would you do? Sarah says, all the other addictions I could deal with, but this one was different. There probably would have been different issues if he was addicted differently. I don't want somebody who is the wife of a gambling addict seeing this and going, oh, honey, I wish he was looking at naked girls because he spent $100,000 of our money. There's probably someone going to community college who could be watching this and saying, yeah, well, Dad spent all my money for college that I had saved on gambling. I'm sure that, people who are addicted to other things, chemical, drug related, would every addiction has its own what do you call them, side effects. Every addiction has its own side effects. But I understand. What I will say about porn addiction, or even sex addiction, intercourse addiction, is that I don't think there's any other addiction that hits the other partner as much as at their core. I can absolutely agree with you on that. I don't think it attacks who you are as a person at the core with a lot of the other addictions. But it has nothing to do with you, Sarah. It has nothing to do with you. And I know that doesn't always help, but I hope you find some respite in that. I hope you find some respite, and it had nothing to do with you. This guy had all the seeds of porn addiction planted long before you met. And he nurtured them over time, and you didn't recognize he had this secret garden in the back. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. I understand 100%. I am going to, how do I know he quit? Well, do you trust him? Number one. Um, what has he done to show you he's quit? What is the work he's done? Is he willing to share his phone or his browser history with you? Is he willing to take a lie detector test? Is he doing anything to show you that he's quit? If you have to ask this, makes me wonder, because you should see him actively quitting. You should know what he's doing. If you caught him using porn one day and he's like, oh, baby, I'll quit. I don't find most of the time those people quit. I was always super confident before this. And Sarah, that's still inside you. That's still inside you. One guy lied because he has a brain disease. I know he's your husband. I know he's close to you. I know you have history. But that confidence is still inside of you. That guy is broken. You know, if a blind guy said that you weren't cute, would you care? If a deaf guy said you couldn't sing, would you care? A guy who's addicted to looking at people without their clothes on, who cares what he thinks? He's ill. He's not healthy. He can't make a good decision. He can't make a good conclusion. Sick people don't make healthy decisions. And I know none of this probably makes it any easier, Sarah. But you seem like a pretty cool person to me. I definitely can see that confidence was there before. You've got to rediscover that woman. Whether he gets better or not, whatever his issue is, that's his issue. You got to take care of yourself. You got a long life ahead of you. I say make a list. All the reasons you should stay, all the reasons you should leave. Because then you at least have it written down and you can look at it and you've got data. Data is huge when it comes to this stuff. If you have 26 reasons why you should leave and 2 reasons why you should stay, gee, there's a tough conclusion to reach, but you may not recognize that until you do it. So, anyway, I'm going to call it a day. I enjoy corn from time to time. Okay, well, try not to be addicted. Thanks. It's just mind-boggling at times. He always liked being objectified by other men too. He always liked me being objectified by other men too. That's kind of an very obvious issue for him. That sounds like he enjoys cuckolding almost, or a form of it. Yes, you're right, Riyadh. The gym is a great way. Anyway, if you need to see me in a one-on-one session, if you're interested in having a conversation with me for an hour, whether it's you're an addict, whether you're the partner, or whether you want to meet partner and addict together, and betrayed partner and addict together and work on things as a whole, I am certified to do all of that. If you would like more information on meeting with me one-on-one, go to the front page of my profile. Up in the bio, you're going to see a link that says Calendly. You can get the information there. Please follow me on the Blue Sky app. This is an app that's going to break big soon. It's going to break huge if TikTok is banned. It's kind of like a a much nicer version of Twitter or X. I don't think it's the kind of place that's going to end up with porn all over the comments, which is why I and many people left Twitter. So Blue Sky is the app. That Corn Coach, follow me on there. I have a YouTube channel that continually gets built out. I'll be working on that this week. I'll be working on the new project about building individualized calendars for people to wean off of pornography. So it's going to be busy, but I will be here doing a bunch of these during the week. I'm an easy guy to get in touch with if you need anything. Follow me if you're not. That'll let you know when I go live. That'll get my videos in front of you. And all I ask is that if you see a video mind in front of you, you give it a like. Maybe you share a comment. This helps get it in front of more people. Want to thank you all for being here very, very much. You have yourselves a great rest of your day, and we will likely talk tomorrow.